Am I on? All right. Facing this way is a little different. Bow your heads, pray with me. Heavenly Father, thank you so much for the opportunity to be able to just come to you in prayer. We know that you are listening. We know that you are with us, even in hard times like this week. And sometimes we can't feel it. We ask for a special prayer for the Eisworth family, for the Baton Rouge Police Department, and for the entire city of Baton Rouge as we prepare this week to honor Caleb in the funeral Saturday. Be with us here tonight. Be with this council as they make decisions to guide and lead our city and our entire parish. It is in your Son, Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Say the pledge. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Chief. Okay, before we move on with adoption and approval of the minutes and the rest of the meeting, we're going to take administrative matter emergency item A, resolution honoring the life and service of Sergeant Caleb Eisworth by Councilman Aaron Moak. Reason it's being requested as administrative matter is to allow the resolution to be adopted today. I need a motion to waive the rules. Motion by Councilwoman Rock, a second by Councilman Moak. We're going to have a public hearing on the motion to waive the rules. Is anybody wishing to speak on the motion to waive the rules? Seeing none, I'm going to go to council. Need a vote on the motion to waive the rules. Is there any objection on the motion to waive the rules? Seeing none, I'm going to call for a public hearing on the item. Is anyone wishing to speak on the item? Seeing none, we're going to go to council. Open the floor to the Metropolitan Council. Councilman.
Sorry. On behalf of the East Baton Rouge Parish Metropolitan Council, our administration, and Mayor President Sid Edwards and his administration, we stand before you today to honor and recognize the life and service of Sergeant Caleb Eisworth. We want to thank each of you for being here. Your presence today shows the deep love and respect our community has for a man who has dedicated his life to our safety. To the City of Baton Rouge Police Department, we stand with you today in grieving and remembering the loss of one of your own. We thank you for your service and your dedication every day to the City of Baton Rouge. Please know that we are here for you, not just today, but always. We hold you in our thoughts and prayers every day, asking for your continued safety as you protect our community. To the family of Sergeant Eisworth, we thank you for allowing your husband, your father, your brother, your son to dedicate his life to our protection and safety. His dedication and service for 23 years will never be forgotten, and we recognize the profound service you have made as a family. We know that every day of his service meant a day of worry and uncertainty for you, and for that, we are eternally grateful. His dedication was made possible by your love and support. We grieve and mourn with you, and our deepest prayers are with you. May God wrap his loving arms around you, provide comfort and strength during this time of profound sorrow. We also pray for the continued safety of all of our police officers, that they may be protected every day as they work to serve our community, so that tragedy like this will never happen again. Sergeant Eisworth's service and sacrifice deserve more than just our words today. They deserve a permanent place in our community's history. To Chief Morris and to Sergeant Eisworth's family, we present this resolution on behalf of the East Baton Rouge Parish Metro Council, Mayor Sid Edwards' administration. A resolution honoring the life and service of Sergeant Caleb Eisworth. Whereas a life dedicated to public service and the protection of our community has come to a somber close with the passing of Sergeant Caleb Eisworth on Sunday, August 10th, 2025. And whereas Sergeant Eisworth began his distinguished career 23 years ago with the Baton Rouge City Police Department, and throughout his tenure served with unwavering courage, integrity, and dedication. And whereas Sergeant Eisworth was a pillar of our community, known not only for his professional excellence, but also for his compassion and ability to connect with citizens and colleagues alike. And whereas Sergeant Eisworth's commitment to duty was exemplified by his receiving the Medal of Valor, the department's highest honor, and multiple awards for heroism. And whereas the ultimate sacrifice made by Sergeant Caleb Eisworth serves as a powerful reminder of the risk our law enforcement officers face every day to ensure the safety and security of our city. And whereas the memory of Sergeant Caleb Eisworth will forever be cherished by their family, friends, and the entire city of Baton Rouge and East Baton Rouge Parish. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the East Baton Rouge Metropolitan Council that the Metro Council, on behalf of all the citizens of the city of Baton Rouge and East Baton Rouge Parish, express its deepest gratitude for the life and heroic service of Sergeant Caleb Eisworth, and that this resolution serves as a permanent expression of our collective sorrow and respect, and that we extend our most heartfelt condolences to Sergeant Eisworth's family, including his wife, daughter, mother, father, and brother, and that a copy of this resolution shall be officially recorded and a duplicate presented to the family of Sergeant Caleb Eisworth as a testament to our city's enduring appreciation for his service and sacrifice. And we present this wreath to Chief T.J. Morris to present to the family also from the Mayor's administration and from the East Baton Rouge Parish Metropolitan Council.
Chief Morse, we thank you and all your men and women of this wonderful department for everything you do. And knowing that every time y'all walk out there, we don't know if you're coming home. I can't help but think of his daughter Sadie's wedding and him not being able to dance with her. That's what I think. We became a society that we become immune to some of this stuff. But Chief, you got to know we got your back and all your men and women's back. And prayers go out to the family. Thank you.
Councilman Moak, want to make a motion to approve the resolution?
Council, I make a motion to approve this resolution.
Second by Councilwoman Rocca. Any opposition? Motion carries. Thank you, Councilman. Thank you, Chief. Thank you,
Brandon.
Mayor.
Brandon, take a couple minutes.
Yeah, we'll take a 5-minute recess and we'll start back with the meeting. All right, we'll call the meeting back to order. We're going to have adoption and approval of the minutes. Approval and adoption of the minutes of the Metropolitan Council meeting of July 23rd, 2025, and special Metropolitan Council meeting of August 6th, 2025, and the Greater Baton Rouge Airport Commission meeting of July 22nd, 2025, by the Council Administrative Treasurer. We have a motion? Motion by Councilman Kenny, second by Councilman Dunn Jr. Any opposed? Motion carries. Ashley, can you please read the introductions?
Section 2.12, Introductions, Number 2. A resolution approving the issuance, sale, and delivery of the not-to-exceed $12,500,000 revenue anticipation note, Series 2025, of the St. George Fire Protection District Number 2 of the Parish of East Baton Rouge, State of Louisiana, and other matters relating thereto by St. George Fire Protection District Number 2. Number 3, authorizing the city constable to enter into an intergovernmental cooperative agreement with the East Baton Rouge Parish Sheriff for a sub-grant in the amount of $603 through the Louisiana Commission on Law Enforcement Burn Justice Assistance Grant Program for the EBR Joint Warrant Task Force by the Constable. Number 4, authorizing settlement of the matter entitled Kenya Messer versus Geico et al., consolidated with Melissa Daigle versus Wesley Holton in the City of Baton Rouge, and Nikki Pace versus Wesley Holton in the City of Baton Rouge, in the amount of $250,000 plus court costs in the amount of $2,184.64, for a total amount of $252,184.64, and appropriating that sum for such purpose by the parish attorney. Number 5, approving the levy and assessment pursuant to Louisiana Revised Statute 33:9038.76 E2B of the sales and use tax and hotel occupancy tax within the Louisiana State University Economic Development District as established by the District's Board of Commissioners by Councilwoman Carolyn R. Coleman. Number 6, amending Title IX, licensing and regulation of trades and occupations so as to add Chapter 25, private booting and immobilization by Councilman Rowdy Gode, Councilwoman Carolyn Coleman, and Councilwoman Jen Rocca. Condemnation introductions. Number 7, Henry L. Thurman Jr., 2845 79th Avenue, Council District 2, Kenny. Number 8, Isiola S. Edwards, 505 New Rafe Mare Road, Council District 2, Kenny. Number 9, the estate of Joyce Ann Gaines Moore, 5752 Cornish Drive, Council District 5, Hearst. Number 10, the estate of Mac Marcella, 6866 East Monarch Avenue, Council District 5, Hearst. Number 11, Jamie Lee Gilmore Douglas, 5333 Page Street, Council District 5, Hearst. Number 12, Nadia J. Rodales Mendez, 3155 Charlotte Drive, Council District 6, Dunn Jr. Number 13, Donald Diaz Velasquez and Anna Marie Nunez Arazo, 4628 Wilmot Street, Council District 7, Harris. Number 14, Emily Alexander Perkins et al., 1334 North 44th Street, Council District 7, Harris. Number 15, Deborah Ann Vaughn, 480 Tuscaloosa Avenue, Council District 7, Harris. Number 16, Rosanna Hampton Forrest, 1232 Dare Street, Council District 10, Coleman. Number 17, Willie Franklin and Ruby Franklin, 5356 South 16th Street, Council District 10, Coleman. Number 18, Benny J. Investments, LLC, 735 North 19th Street, Council District 10, Coleman. Number 19, Davis Curtis Bergeron and Sherilyn W. Bergeron, 2376 Mississippi Street, Council District 12, Rocca. All items that require reading have been read, and a motion to introduce all items is in order.
Thank you, Ashley. We have a motion? Motion by Councilwoman Rocca, second by Councilman Gode to introduce. Any opposed? Motion carries. All right, we're going to go to our separate sheet for condemnations. DPW inspection condemnations proceedings are to proceed with items 65, 66, 67, 69, 70, 71, 72, 74, 75, 76, 77, 78, 79, 80, 81, 82, 83, 84, 85, 86, 87, and 88. 90 days on item 68 and delete item 63. Anyone here wishing to speak on any of these items? Seeing none, we'll go to council. I do have District 7 recommendations, 30 days on item 70, 30 days on item 77, 60 days on item 65. Councilman Kinney?
30 days for 71 and 84.
30 days for 71 and 84.
Yes.
30 days for 78. 60 days for 79, and 60 days for 87.
All right. Anybody else? Yes, ma'am.
Mayor Pro Tem, can you repeat for 70? What do you have?
Item
those?
70, I have 30 days.
Yes, that's correct.
Great.
Huh? That's correct. Okay.
Okay, I'm gonna read them back. Recommendation is to proceed with items 66, 67, 69, 72, 74, 75, 76, 80, 81, 82, 83, 85, 86, and 88. 30 days on items 70, 71, 77, 78, and 84. 60 days on items 65, 79, and 87. 90 days on item 68, and to delete item 73. We have a motion? Motion by Councilwoman Coleman, second by Councilwoman Amorosa. Any opposed? Motion carries. We'll bring it up at the end. Just remind me. Item 89, resolution authorizing East Baton Rouge Sewage Commission to make application to the State Bond Commission for consent and authority to issue a not exceeding $497,927,000 revenue refunding bond series 2025A of the commission for the purpose of providing sufficient funds to refund all or a portion of the outstanding principal amount of the commission's $224,900,000, has an extra zero there, revenue refunding bond series 2020B, taxable, and the Louisiana Local Government, Environmental Facilities, and Community Development Authorities, $361,325,000 subordinate lien revenue refunding bond series 2020A taxable, and to pay the costs of issuance of the series 2025A refunding bonds and not exceeding $277,115,000 revenue refunding bond series 2025B of the Commission for purpose of providing sufficient funds to refund all or portion of the outstanding principal amount of the authority's subordinate lien revenue refunding bonds and providing for all other matters related thereto by the bond council. Anyone here wishing to speak on this item?
Council members, you should have received one email comment in opposition to item 89.
Seeing none, we'll go to council. Motion by Councilwoman Rocca, second by Councilwoman Coleman. Any opposed? Motion carries. Item 90, authorizing settlement of the pre-litigation claim Thomas Hebert Jr. for damages resulting from an auto accident caused by a public works employee in the amount of $14,500 by the parish attorney. Anyone here wishing to speak on this item? Seeing none, we'll go to council. Do we have a motion? Motion by Councilwoman Harris. Do we have a second? Second by Councilman Hudson. Any opposition? I'll be in opposition. We have another opposition. We'll vote on the machines.
Council members, machines are open on the motion to approve. Motion fails.
What do you want to do?
Reset, or we'll revote. Is everybody ready? Machines are open on the motion to approve. Motion carries.
Item 91, authorizing settlement of the pre-litigation claim of Ivy Fleming for damages resulting from an auto accident caused by a public works employee in the amount of $15,500 by the parish attorney. Anyone here wishing to speak on this item? Seeing none, we'll go to council. Have a motion? Motion by Councilman Goday, second by Councilman Hurst. Any opposition? Two opposed, and we're going to vote on the machines.
Council members, machines are open on the motion to approve item 91. Motion carries.
Item 92, authorizing settlement of the pre-litigation claim of Kenneth Griffith for damages resulting from an auto accident caused by a public works employee in the amount of $15,500 by the parish attorney. Anyone here wishing to speak on this item? Seeing none, we'll go to council. We have a motion. Motion by Councilman Hurst, second by Councilwoman Harris. Any opposition? Two opposed, and we're going to vote on the machines.
Council members, machines are open on the motion to approve item 92. Motion carries.
Item 93, amending the Code of Ordinances of the City of Baton Rouge and Parish of East Baton Rouge, Title 9, Licensing and Regulation of Trades and Occupations by adding Chapter 25, Smoke Vape Shops, so as to define and regulate distance requirements and signage on the retail sale of tobacco, vape, and similar products by Councilman Rowdy Goday, Councilwoman Denise Amorosa, Councilwoman Carolyn Coleman, and Councilwoman Tawana Harris. Anyone here wishing to speak on this item? Seeing none, we'll go to council. Oh. Please, just state your name for the record. Oh.
Okay, so, and we have representatives from iCare. Louisiana is among the states with the highest young cigarette use rates in the nation, according to CDC. A statewide survey found that 1 in 3 high school students and 1 in 5 middle schoolers vape. Vaping has replaced cigarettes as the most common form of nicotine consumption among young people in the past decade. And so while it is illegal for these young people to purchase them, we still find that it is happening. So we are urging you to pass this ordinance because we think that it would reduce the problems that we are experiencing. Thank you.
Anyone else wishing to speak on this item? Seeing none, we'll go to council. Councilman Dunn Jr.
Thank you. Can one of the authors or somebody from the administration just talk about exactly what the changes are that have been made? That you? Courtney? Okay. Thank you. Come on down. Tell us exactly what you and the authors are doing.
And I'm sorry, what's the question? Because I was talking to one of my attorneys back there.
That's okay. Just state for the record exactly what's going on, what the changes are being made.
Well, this is actually in addition to the ordinance. We haven't had anything like this before.
Okay.
Just the basics is that there's going to be a signage requirement and a distance requirement. The signage requirement, well, let's see, the distance requirement is 500 feet from any educational institution, religious institution, public library, child daycare facility in a public park. And then the signage requirement is basically to make sure that some consideration was given as far as minors are concerned. So in section 1352, the shops are going to be mandated to post clear signage that minors may not enter the premises.
And none of this existed before?
I'm sorry?
None of this existed before?
No, this is a new addition to the ordinances.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And I'm sorry, the Department of Development will be the department that's going to enforce it.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Courtney, real quick, excuse me. Just a quick question as I was looking through it. I know that there is a provision for those shops that are already operating being okay regardless, but prior to this change. Mm-hmm. Should a vape shop as defined be operating now in a strip center and then a school comes into that strip center? I know they would be fine if that shop would be sold or to another operator. What would be the provision? Would it still be grandfathered because of the location before? Or does that limit the ability to sell the business for current ownership?
I don't believe so. I think that if it changes ownership, then it'll be taking ownership under this new provision. But I don't want to call Rachel into it, but that would be my appreciation of it.
Okay. Was that discussed by any of the authors about should that occur I
I
just think
believe
it's
we
a,
did discuss it, but
that's a consideration. You
Yeah.
know, the liquidation of a business is limited at that point, should someone wish to do so. I didn't know if that was discussed.
What I'll add is, yeah, the grandfather provision that you referenced was specifically worded to say a smoke or vape shop retailer operating on the effective date of this ordinance. So that retailer is that business. So if a new business were attempting to open, they would not be grandfathered in.
So if a new owner were buying the existing business, you'd call that,
I may have to yield to,
well, how would legal look at it?
yeah, so I mean, if a new owner is just taking over the existing business, then the existing business is already operating, so you just,
Buying the name, buying the
Right.
trade name, buying the business. You think that would still fall under the grandfather?
I think that they'll be grandfathered in.
Okay.
But that's just my opinion at this moment. Yeah.
Okay. Councilman Dunn Jr.
I just offer this up for discussion. If that new owner inherited the business, the name, and everything like that, that possibly could happen. But if they choose to take another name, they will probably have to reapply for occupancy license and things of that nature. And I'm a go to what Councilman Gaudet, the author, said. I would think they would not qualify under this. But to be clear, I think some language need to be added, whatever the pleasure of the authors are, to clarify that situation.
I would agree with your sentiment. As far as language is concerned, I'll leave that to Councilman Gaudet. But I believe that generally speaking, because this happens quite often, we've got other businesses going in East Baton Rouge Parish where a new business owner may come in, they have to file articles of incorporation, it's everything that's new. I think that they're starting over new with the city at that point too. So I think that would apply.
If a new owner of a business, even if they're keeping the same name, they still have to apply for an occupancy.
Well, so in both cases, they wouldn't qualify, and to Councilman Noel's point,
Yeah, speak to that.
they'll make
I
it a
think
challenge
that
to
in
liquidate.
the meetings we did, when we were discussing this, we did talk about grandfathering, where vapes are sold currently, that they would be grandfathered in, though I think it would be somewhat difficult from an enforcement standpoint because we don't have that data of what's going on already, then it might be a little bit difficult to prove who was pre-existing to an extent. So there are some challenges along with that.
I'm just, it's just discussion. Whatever the authors decide, it's just some things to consider.
That might have answered Councilman Noel's question too.
Councilman Moak?
Is there a specific license that these businesses get for selling vapes or cigarettes? Do these businesses sell vapes and cigarettes?
Not under, well, okay. So the first question is there a specific license that they are getting? No, this is not a permit ordinance.
Okay.
Do
Well,
vape
no,
vape shops
not just being
sell
a permit,
cigarettes? I
but
believe some of them do.
do they, right now, before this ordinance, if you go to open up a vape shop, if you're selling just vape material and things like that, do you have to get a particular license, like with alcohol, you have to get an alcohol permit license? And I guess with cigarettes, if they had cigarettes in the facility, they would have to get a specific license?
Tobacco retailers.
I mean, but we still, from an occupancy and building permit standpoint, it is just retail sales. That's it. So we've
Okay.
added questionnaires into we're going to add questions into certain permits that are they selling vape or tobacco products? And then if they, say yes, then that would invoke, us reviewing the distances.
Okay.
Let me add to that answer. The state has created a vape shop registration and process. At the local level, we have not, and I would say do not. But the
Okay.
state did create it as part of a state statute.
ATF, I think, regulates who sells tobacco and also vapes as well. But I don't think that there's any distance requirements for that.
Okay, well, I was just looking at it from a licensing standpoint. For example, with this here, if it was a place, a liquor place, and we're doing an ordinance like this, if a liquor store sells the business, the new owner has to get a liquor license also. So does that make that, the liquor license itself would disqualify the liquor store from being there under like these rules and regulations with alcohol because they're not grandfathered in anymore, correct? The business itself, the location, but the liquor license wouldn't be able to be sold.
Yeah.
That's the reason I was asking, comparing is there licensing for vapes and stuff that are outside of the actual business part that would prohibit it from being grandfathered in?
So liquors, if you sell alcohol at a retail, level, well, at any level, right? It's not just the business that's being permitted by the ABC office, it's also the person. So if the business changes hands, even though it still may retain the same ABC, store, mart or store or whatever, the new individual who is buying that, store would have to go get a new license from the ABC office.
So that scenario wouldn't.
No, the ABC office is not licensing, nor is the permit office licensing tobacco and vape retailers.
Okay, thank you.
Councilman Hurst?
I just had one quick question for Courtney. If that language were to be added, would it be a substantive change? Just saying that that if the transfer of ownership from one business owner to the other, that they're automatically grandfathered in the distance limitations.
Yes, it probably would be a substantive change. But what I'm gathering is that I don't know that it's needed because it sounds like that's happening now with other businesses in the city parish. But that's up to the author.
That was it, thank you.
Yeah. Because like Rachel said, if you're gonna have a new owner come in, they've got to get their own occupancy permit, right? Is that correct? Yes. So it's happening.
But that's still, but you can say you get, as long as you qualify for the occupational license and whatever other license associated with it, that you can still be grandfathered upon approval of those licenses. What I'm saying is that Suite B in 1054 Airline Highway, Suite B switches owners and now I have to go for a new occupational license, new ATC license, new ABC license if I want to sell alcohol, shisha, and tobacco. Okay, now there's no current distance requirements, but if I do that, and as long as it's an existing one that's on the ATC site or whatever we do, then now we can grandfather that location in upon approval from the ATC and ABC boards, what I'm saying. I'm only asking, is that a substantive change? Since it's still the same address.
I think with alcohol licenses, they're still going through their own process because
Take
the
alcohol out though.
Yes.
Take the alcohol out.
Right,
I just threw that out there.
Yeah.
They would have to apply for ATC. My point is, upon ATC approval to sell shisha or tobacco.
I don't disagree with what you're saying, that if they can prove that they were selling the alcohol that they, not that, the tobacco products that they could be grandfathered in, like you said, that they have an ATC permit at that location for selling tobacco and vape products,
Maybe as
then they
long as
could
it's
be.
transferable within 6 months or something like that.
Yeah.
And I know this is yours, right? I'm just tossing some up for you. Because, I like the ordinance.
If it could be transferable in 6 months.
Yeah, it's just, yeah. So as long as
But
you.
we have
as
no
long
way
as
of
you do
knowing when
within
it
a 6 month
discontinued.
period of
Right.
90 days, that your grandfather status stays there. If you don't, then somebody can't come back 2 years down the road and say they used to have a vape shop here. Right?
Usually the grandfathering for planning stuff is 2 years. Alcohol is 6 months.
Yeah. That's something for the author to consider.
Yeah, well, there's 4 authors, and here's what I would say. To be fully transparent, it's my intent to also explore advertising of vape products within distance regulations. That's not something that's contained within this ordinance, but I will continue looking at this issue, and so I'll make the commitment that I'll work with these folks if language is needed to come back to this council with that language. I'm not one to inject language on the spot. I worry about unintended consequences. I worry about language then offsetting other provisions. So I'd rather take some time to, think about it, talk with the folks who are the subject matter experts on it. And I would say the intent of this ordinance is the more important piece that we're hearing tonight, and getting it through from what you heard from some of our residents is probably the most important piece. So with that,
And they're pointing at me, but I concur with what you just said. Let us not get sidetracked on the intent of this thing here. You're talking about folks selling vape near a school and a church and a this and a that. And I think that, and we need to be mindful of the grandfathering in. Grandfathering. So that means what we're doing is really nothing, because what we are saying is that y'all just keep right on vaping, and just as iCare has said, the ladies have said, this vaping is real, you all, whether you all know it or not. This vaping is real, and it's running rampant in our schools. And so if the children can just walk across the street and get vaping, come right on, what are we doing? What are we doing? So I just think we're really wasting a lot of time on just trivial stuff, and we need to get to the meat of this thing as far as what the intent of this is. Talking about not being able to sell this stuff within 500 feet. Now, if a fellow wants to open up one, needs to go through the process that any and everybody else have to go through in order to be able to, and if it's no, then you don't get to get your license to vape, to sell vape. That's all. Next thing we'll be doing is, dope. I motion to approve.
We have a motion by Councilwoman Coleman, second by Councilwoman Harris. Is there any opposition? Motion carries. Okay, y'all know I don't like to move agenda items around. Y'all know. However, Senator Barrow is with us, and she has another meeting to go to. She's asking us to move up item 113, and when we have a senator who brings home the bacon, so to speak, to the parish, we're going to move the agenda item up. So item 113, authorizing the mayor president to enter into a cooperative endeavor agreement with the state of Louisiana for the state to provide funding in the amount of $1,025,000 from funding provided in Act 461 of the 2025 regular legislative session to support public service programs such as youth programming, community service, food and healthcare disparities, and violence prevention programs, and appropriate funding for said purpose by the Community Development Director. Anyone here wishing to speak on this item? Senator.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Mr. Pro Tem. And we were together on yesterday as we did that great grand opening or reopening of the new ER at Lane Regional Center, which I'm so excited about. It's ironic that I would come up here after you guys were talking about vaping, and I know that we put into statute some guidelines as it relates to how that would actually happen, but I just want to make sure that everybody that know me pretty much know how much I care about children, and making sure that we are doing preventative measures as well as intervention measures, so that we can give them an opportunity to thrive and be their best. And so with that said, I'm not going to dip into y'all business, but that's not something that, if you go back and look at my record, that I have been in favor of, just FYI. This money, this is the third year that I've had the opportunity to appropriate money to the city of Baton Rouge for good programs in our city to actually deter crime and to actually provide educational opportunities for our children primarily, but also helping families. And so this is what this money is actually designed for. This is the first time I've been able to secure over $1 million, and I'm really excited about that. And it's just going to... I believe that this is going to go a long way to assist a lot of families, to help a lot of young people, and to make sure that those resources that are given to them help them to move in that new direction. What I do know, and the data actually proves this, is that when we make intentional efforts
to invest in children, intentional efforts to invest in families, it has a positive rate of return. And so I believe in that. That's why I keep putting my money where my mouth is. And I am asking you guys to actually approve this measure so that this money can flow through the community in various pockets where we have the proven success rates. Dealing with, I know you, Ms. Harris, is really big on domestic violence. And when I look at those numbers and what has happened and what's happening here in our city, we still have a lot of work to do. And so one of the things that I really would like to do with some of that money as it relates to domestic violence, and this is just something personal for me, is helping law enforcement to have a better, have more tools when they go to meet the families. There's so many things that people don't understand and the nuances that happen behind the scene that sometimes people don't know what they don't know. And we just need to provide those tools to help them to be able to, when they enter that family house and enter that household, be able to address the issues maybe sometimes differently. So with that said, I'll be happy to take any questions. I see you guys kind of looking up at the timer, which means I think my time is up.
Don't worry about the time. Don't worry about the time.
But I'll take any questions.
We'll finish public hearing, we'll go to the council, and if anybody has anything, but
Okay.
I'd say thank you, absolutely, from all of us. We appreciate you.
So this is for the whole East Baton Rouge Parish, with a, definitely with a focus more on the areas that I represent, because unfortunately, that's where we tend to have more pockets of crimes, and we have more pockets of poverty, which brings on its own issues within itself. So with that said, I'd be happy to take any questions and to address any concerns.
Thank you so much, Senator. Anyone else here wishing to speak on this item? Seeing none, we'll go to council. Councilman Kenny.
All right, Senator Barrow, I don't have a question. I just want to say thank you, and I think everybody in the room should give you a round of applause for your commitment to East Baton Rouge Parish. I have the amazing honor of Senator Barrow being my state senator in Scotlandville and District 2. So, Senator, thank you so much for these seeds of investment to multiple programs across East Baton Rouge Parish. I know your time is slowly coming to an end, but you have been committed to East Baton Rouge for a very long time. So I just want to say thank you. I know the rest of the council, I don't want to speak for them, right? But I know all of them really appreciate the work you've done for our community. So thank you so much.
You. I appreciate that.
Councilwoman Harris.
My senator,
Yes.
thank you so much. You and I have been on this journey, domestic violence journey, for a very long time, and you're such a strong champion for victims and families. So I say to you, thank you. Continue fighting. Continue being the voice for those victims, because many times they are voiceless. So thank you for thinking of us with this funding, and call on us anytime. And you're always welcome here. You know that. We roll out the red carpet for you. So thank you so much, Senator Barrow.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And yes, you do.
Councilman Hurst.
I would be remiss if I didn't talk to my constituent of District 5. So thank you so much. Listening, partnering good, man. I mean, she's been taking care of her backyard for a long time, has climbed through the ranks and expanded her footprint. And what she started in the nonprofit world of just serving people. See, what I tell you about people is you don't start serving when you get elected. If you're not serving before you get in office, you're wasting your time, because you're not doing it for somebody else, you're doing it for yourself.
That's right.
And you are a shining example of what good work, good intentions, great heart, and following Jesus Christ does. And thank you for what you sow into our community.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Councilwoman Coleman.
Senator Barrow, just want to say thank you. It sounds so insignificant, but just want to say thank you. And I appreciate how you have lined out how you want this money spent. And that is what just strikes me. And the other thing that I must say is that when you included the council to get some money, you didn't just include 5, but you included all 12. And we are appreciative of that. And I want to say, if any of the 7 don't want theirs, they can give it to me. Yes, but we appreciate what you've done for the people of Baton Rouge.
Thank you, and I'd like to respond to that. That was important to me. First of all, we do not operate in a vacuum. Honestly, I represent 7 of y'all. I went back and looked at it, I said, wow, more than majority. If I ever need a vote, no, I'm just kidding. But at the end of the day, when speaking to many of you and listening to the concerns that you have in your district, I thought it was only fair to be able to give you an opportunity to pick projects that you wanted to do. Because I may not know what is the most pressing issue in your district, but you do. And so I want to make sure I gave you that opportunity to, find a project that aligns with that mission where we are really addressing issues of children and families. So that was important to me.
Councilwoman Rocca.
Senator Barrow, I just want to say thank you. You've always been kind, generous, and always willing to talk. Thank you for your service to our community. Thank you for everything that you do. Appreciate
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Senator, we're so appreciative. We're honored and feel wonderful for having you as a leader in our delegation. We're blessed, and we thank you for all that you do. So much appreciation.
Thank you.
I make a motion to accept.
Motion by Councilwoman Coleman, second by Councilman Kenny. Any opposition? Motion carries. Thank you, Senator.
Thank y'all. Have a great night.
All right. Item 94, rescinding and directing clerk of court to cancel the notice to attend recorded on May 8th, 2025, and the decision and order recorded on June 3rd, 2025, in the matter of City of Baton Rouge versus the Harmony Center, Inc. Reason for rescission is the property is being renovated. This item is by Councilwoman Coleman. Anyone here wishing to speak on this item? Seeing none, we'll go to council. Motion by Councilwoman Coleman, second by Councilwoman Amorosa. Any opposed? Motion carries. We're going to take items 95 through 100 together. Item 95, authorizing the Mayor President on behalf of the Division of Human Development and Services Ryan White Program to amend the subrecipient contract with No AIDS Task Force in the amount of $33,141 for a total award amount of $55,102 by Human Development and Services Director. Item 96, authorizing the Mayor President on behalf of the Division of Human Development and Services Ryan White Program to amend a subrecipient contract with Volunteers of America in the amount of $54,740 for a total award amount of $91,371 by Human Development and Services Director. Item 97, authorizing the Mayor President on behalf of the Division of Human Development and Services Ryan White Program to amend a subrecipient contract with Family Services of Greater Baton Rouge in the amount of $234,892 for a total awarded amount of $393,892 by Human Development and Services Director. Item 98, authorizing the Mayor President on behalf of the Division of Human Development and Services Ryan White Program to amend a subrecipient contract with HIV Alliance for Region 2, Inc. in an amount of $51,551 for a total awarded amount of $86,454 by Human Development and Services Director. Item 99, authorizing the Mayor President on behalf of the Division of Human Development and Services Ryan White Program to amend subrecipient contract with HIV Alliance for Region 2, Inc. in an amount of $309,797 for a total awarded amount of $523,580 by Human Development and Services Director. And item 100, authorizing the Mayor President on behalf of the Division of Human Development and Services Ryan White Program to amend a subrecipient contract with Capital City Family Health Center, Care South, in the amount of $191,095 for a total awarded amount of $320,345 by the Human Development and Services Director. Anyone here wishing to speak on items 95 through 100?
Council members, you should have received one email comment in opposition to items 95 through 100.
Seeing none, we'll go to council. Councilwoman Adams.
Can I get the Director of Human Services to come to the podium? So we can continue to have just a lot of confusion over funding for Ryan White and funding for HIV/AIDS. I just want to ask you a few questions. Are these federal funds that are flowing from the federal government?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and are we able to spend these funds on anything other than HIV and AIDS programming in the parish?
No, ma'am. They're delegated toward our sub-recipients who are providing services and medicine to that community specifically.
So we couldn't spend these for another disease or another.
No, ma'am. You have to submit a scope of work, and it's exactly for what it states in that paragraph that we just read.
And since it is federal funding, is there a process that we have to go through to report back to the federal government how those funds are spent? Is there a paper trail and accounting procedures and audits? Talk about the accountability on this.
That's what we call your scope of work. You have to. It's like a budget that we submit to the federal authorities and the funding source, exactly to the dollar, how much where we're going to spend and how we're going to spend it. And we also have annual monitoring where the federal funding source comes in and they'll audit our records and see how the whole program is being run.
Okay, so there is oversight and monitoring that happens on an annual basis and continually.
Absolutely.
Okay, that's all my questions. I just wanted to, like I said, we continue to have confusion in the community, and I just want to make sure that we have those questions arise in public comment, that we do answer those. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Councilman Dunn Jr.
Thank you, Mr. Pro Tem. Let the record reflect that I abstained from 98 and 99.
Yes, sir. Councilman Hurst.
I just wanted to add to Laurie's question. My office and Councilmember Dunn's office sits on the board for DHTS. And so this question just came up in the meeting last week, and they audit, like most federal funds. If you don't lose it, they reduce the amount of funds that you get year over year for particular programs, and put those in other agencies that don't have enough based on their community response. And it is allocated to specific agencies. All of them don't do the exact same thing, but they all fall under program guidelines to make sure that they meet the holistic community needs as it relates to HIV and AIDS. So, so the board had this same discussion because it came up to the department. So I just want to confirm that as well. Thank you.
We have a motion. Motion by Councilman Hurst, second by Councilwoman Amorosa. Any opposition? Motion carries. Please show Councilman Dunn Jr. abstaining for items 98 and 99. Item 101, authorize Mayor President to execute Amendment Number 1 to the Professional Services Agreement with Southern Environmental Management and Specialties, Inc. to increase contract amount by $50,000 for a total contract value not to exceed $100,000 by the Development Director. Anyone here wishing to speak on this item?
Council members, you should have received one email comment in opposition to item 101.
Seeing none, we'll go to council. We have a motion. Motion by Councilman Hurst. Second by Councilwoman Adams. Any opposed? Motion carries. Item 102, authorizing Mayor President to execute Amendment Number 2 to the Professional Services Agreement with Waste Pro Louisiana for debris hauling services to increase the contract amount $100,000 for a total contract amount not to exceed $300,000 by the Development Director. Anyone here wishing to speak on this item?
Council members, you should have received one email comment in opposition to item 102.
Seeing none, we'll go to council. We have a motion. Motion by Councilman Hurst. Second by Councilwoman Adams. Any opposed? Motion carries. Item 103, authorizing the Mayor President on behalf of the Office of Community Development by adding $250,000 to the agreement between City of Baton Rouge, Parish of East Baton Rouge, and Front Yard Bikes by Community Development Director. Anyone here wishing to speak on this item?
Council members, you should have received one email comment in opposition to item 103.
Seeing none, go to council. We have a motion. Motion by Councilman Hurst. Second by Councilman Kinney. Any opposed? Motion carries. Item 104, authorizing Mayor President on behalf of the Office of Community Development to execute Amendment Number 1 to subrecipient contract between the City of Baton Rouge, Parish of East Baton Rouge, and Catholic Charities, Joseph Holmes, increasing the contract amount by $33,750 for a revised total not to exceed $83,757 by the Community Development Director. Anyone here wishing to speak on this item? Seeing none, we'll go to council. We have a motion. Motion by Councilman Hurst, second by Councilwoman Adams. Any opposed? Motion carries. Item 105, authorizing Mayor President on behalf of the Office of Community Development to execute Amendment Number 1 to subrecipient contract between the City of Baton Rouge, Parish of East Baton Rouge, and Catholic Charities Sanctuary for Life, increasing the contract amount by $42,175 for a revised total not to exceed $105,631 by Community Development Director. Anyone here wishing to speak on this item? Seeing none, we'll go to council. We have a motion. Motion by Councilman Hurst. For the second. Second by Councilwoman Adams. Any opposed? Motion carries. All the heavy lifting over there. Item 106, authorizing Mayor President to execute an agreement between the City of Baton Rouge, Parish of East Baton Rouge on behalf of the Office of Community Development and St. Vincent de Paul in an amount not to exceed $205,247.44 with term beginning August 1st, 2025 and ending September 30th, 2026 by Community Development Director. Anyone here wishing to speak on this item? Seeing no one, go to council. We have a motion. Motion by Councilwoman Adams, second by Councilman Hudson. Any opposed? Motion carries. We're going to take items 107 through 111 together. 107, authorizing Mayor President on behalf of the Office of Community Development to execute Amendment Number 1 to subrecipient contract between the City of Baton Rouge, Parish of East Baton Rouge, and HIV/AIDS Alliance for Region 2, increasing the contract amount by $600,000 for a new total not to exceed $1,053,288 by Community Development Director. Item 108, authorizing Mayor President on behalf of the Office of Community Development to execute Amendment Number 1 to subrecipient contract between the City of Baton Rouge, Parish of East Baton Rouge, and La Roque LLC, doing business as Brightside Clinic, increasing the contract amount by $125,000 for a new total not to exceed $275,000 by Community Development Director. Item 109, authorizing Mayor President on behalf of the Office of Community Development to execute Amendment Number 1 to subrecipient contract between City of Baton Rouge, Parish of East Baton Rouge, and Volunteers of America, increasing the contract amount by $485,000 for a new total not to exceed $904,755 by the Community Development Director. Item 110, authorizing the Mayor President on behalf of the Office of Community Development to execute Amendment Number 1 to subrecipient contract between the City of Baton Rouge, Parish of East Baton Rouge, and Start Corporation, increasing the contract amount by $355,990.50 for a new total not to exceed $655,990.50 by Community Development Director. Item 111, authorizing Mayor President on behalf of the Office of Community Development to execute Amendment Number 1 to subrecipient contract between City of Baton Rouge, Parish of East Baton Rouge, and the Baton Rouge Black Alcoholism Council, doing business as Metro Health, increasing the contract amount by $310,000 for a new total not to exceed $600,258.83 by Community Development Director. Anyone here wishing to speak on items 107 through 111?
Council members, you should have received one email comment in opposition to items 107 through 111.
Seeing none, we'll go to council. We have a motion. Motion by Councilman Hurst. We have a second. Second by Councilman Hudson. Is there any opposition? Motion carries. Item 112, authorizing the Mayor President to enter into and execute agreements on behalf of the Office of Community Development with the following agencies in coordination with funding received from the Louisiana Opioid Abatement Settlement to support opioid-involved persons in the amount of $1,849,000. District Attorney, $1 million, 19th JDC, $589,000, CJCC, $260,000, to prevent misuse of opioids in the amount of $212,000, Victoria's Voice, to connect people to care in an amount not to exceed $320,020, Set Free Indeed, for treatment and recovery in an amount not to exceed $448,500, Eclectic Behavioral Health, $300,000, Eco Behavioral Health, $148,500, to address the needs of criminally involved persons in the amount of $375,000, East Baton Rouge Parish Office of Public Defender, $100,000, East Baton Rouge Parish Juvenile Court, $275,000, to address opioid deaths in an amount not to exceed $300,000, East Baton Rouge Parish Coroner, and for a total of $3,512,500.20 by the Community Development Director. Anyone here wishing to speak on this item? I think we got some mayors here that would like to speak on it, huh? Welcome, mayors.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. honorable council members, I'm here in support of this. Look, the opioid settlement money that the previous administration saw fit to put a commission together to decide how to spend this money. The current administration saw fit to continue that effort. Through our work and through the advisory committee, we've worked to establish the need to create massive awareness, because unfortunately we've lost one generation on this problem. And so we found it best to start early and help the parents get their heads out of the sand and start addressing this with the school-age children, as well as working with the mayor's office to address the issues throughout our communities. Just last week, we had a meeting, and I asked the question because I noticed we had an uptick in overdoses just in Central, but it appears there was a bad batch of heroin in the streets because that uptick was everywhere in the parish. And so I know there's some things in this that were questionable, but I feel it's so valuable that we move forward and get this thing passed. And I wasn't going to speak, but I want to make sure that we do stand up and say, guys, this is something that we do need to do. This money is very specific, and I would just encourage you to support this. And thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Anyone else? Ms. Miles, please.
He said what he said. We're good.
Well, we appreciate all the mayors being here.
I appreciate all of them. Look, thank you guys so much for everything that you do. I've been in contact with a lot of you guys for years, and some of you guys in the last couple of months, and we have some good news. The good news is, but we have some bad news. The good news is that drug overdose deaths are decreasing in East Baton Rouge Parish. We have some of the best numbers in the country, according to SAMHSA, who runs mental health and substance abuse for the country. They were down here not too long ago to witness the work that we were doing. But here's the deal: we're not satisfied. We still have too many people dying of drug overdoses, more than those who are dying of murders, and we have to address that, because at the end of the day, it does not discriminate from the curbside to the country club. So I do have a favor to ask. As we continue to do this work, I'm going to need each and every one of you to continue to help us do this. I have data that's what we're driven by, to talk to you guys about how many people are dying in your area code, in your zip code, in your districts. And so with the help of you guys, we can continue to move the needle. They were talking about vaping earlier. We have kids now, vaping, and it could be laced with fentanyl. And so we have to do something to be proactive. We have to do something to be preventive, and we have to keep this good work going. And so even with our homeless challenge, the homeless challenges we have in this community, a lot of them identify as having challenges with mental health and substance abuse. So just thank you guys for your support. Thank you for your continued support. And I look forward to you guys even coming out with us. We go out on every drug overdose call, every POD. We would love for you to come out and see what happens on those sites. Also, when we're going into encampments, I would love for you guys to come and just see the challenges and the successes that we are having. So thank y'all so much.
Thank you, Ms. Miles. Anyone else wishing to speak on this item, please? Please just state your name for the record.
Mark Katie Archia with Victoria's Voice Foundation. Tanja and Brandy and all the folks here had done an incredible job and reducing the opioid death rate. You are 3 points better than the national average. We're looking forward to coming in and working with you all, not to lead, but to stand beside you and take it to the next generation. Our young people in the 6th, 8th, 10th, and 12th grade are getting ready for the CCYS survey. There is money that is attributed to that. Over the state, they only had a 20% participation rate. We've got to help to increase that, and that's one of the things that Victoria's Voice is going to work with all the local agencies to do. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else wishing to speak on this item? Seeing none, go to council. Councilwoman Adams.
Kelly. Hey, there you are. Sorry, I was looking for you back here. How are you doing?
I'm good. How about you?
Good. So will you give us an overview of the opioid settlement money, when this arrived in Baton Rouge, how it's been deployed, and what the horizon for these funds are, how long these will perpetuate?
So I think the first thing that's important to note is we took on more work to help save funds and keep it inside the city parish, right? So instead of having a consultant manage these settlement funds, we're going to do it through the Office of Community Development so that we receive that 10%. So the settlement is 18-year money, anywhere from $1.2 million to $2 million, depending on how many pharmaceutical companies fall in and out of bankruptcy or added to the settlement. We were recently just notified we have $3 million coming in September because of how efficiently that we are using the funds. Ms. Darrell, when did we first receive funds? 2021. So, and again, I apologize. We had to hit the ground running to meet the requirements on 2024 spend down. The goal is absolutely for each one of you to be involved with the opioid funds moving forward and look at your districts. I was excited, when we first called each mayor across the parish, they committed to staying on the board themselves. They had the right to name someone, and they said, no, we're committed. We want to meet, and we've met several times. So it's an important effort. We want your involvement, and that is going into the 2025 funds.
And I asked you in a meeting yesterday, and I wanted to ask you here, what does the opioid crisis look like in this parish? How does it manifest?
I'm going to let Tanja answer that question because she makes me tear up every time I see it and hear it.
Give me your question again, please, ma'am.
What does the opioid crisis look like in the parish? How is it affecting our parish?
It's affecting our parish because every time somebody dies, that's somebody's son or daughter who had hopes and dreams to be something one day. When we see people who are famous die, from Prince to Michael Jackson and other people, Matthew Perry, we're like, oh my God, they were talented. How could they? But so are these people. So are people like me. Mm-hmm. I've been a recipient of who've had an amazing life of recovery, but I also was a person who overdosed before. Mm-hmm. And what's going on is that, we have a lot of mental health challenges that we need to address, and people are using substances to help them through that. There's a lot of trauma in our community for many reasons, and people are trying to get the help that they need, and a lot of times they can't. They're not maybe they don't know about the services. That's why access to services and awareness is key. And so when we let people know that there's hope, we let them know that there's resources, then they can address. Look, people are trying to get high and not die. Whether we like it or not, everybody want to feel good. People do that in a different way. And so for those people who are using drugs will hijack your brain. We know that. But nobody's trying to die from drugs. There are people who are putting those chemicals in those substances that are taking the lives of our citizens. That's somebody's kid. And so as an overview, like I said, we're looking good, but we still have work to do. As I look at the numbers right now, at one time people used to say this is only a challenge for someone who doesn't look like me, who's not black. Well, those numbers now are kind of equally, across the board in every zip code. There are some zip codes who have maybe one or two, but a lot of them have over 5 and 10. Mm-hmm. And so, we get to that because people are using drugs more. We got a lot of our kids are using, college students. And again, they're trying to get high, not die, but we want to prevent that.
Would it be fair to say that the opioid crisis has put a strain on our court system,
yes,
on the DA's office, on our juvenile facilities, that it's stretched public resources?
It has. Look, I've been doing this for a long time. I'm not new to it. I'm true to it. And, Cleve can tell you that, going through hella high water, we weren't stopping. And you know that. This is hard work. It is not pretty, it is not sexy, but it must be done because from the curbside to the country club, like I said. And so it is. And so that's why, I came up with public safety, public health, and public hope, because we're going to need all those entities together. We have to address public safety because we know that a lot of times people who are committing, crimes, they're under the influence. So let us help you get to that next level so that don't have to be a way for you to live your life. Or, when it comes to public health. And then that public hopes look like all of us are working together. And that's why we've moved the needle, because we're all working together. One mind, one mission. And we need everybody firing at the same time. I'm a military girl. In order for us to really move the needle and combat something, we have to work together. And we've done that, but we want to take it to the next level.
So you
Councilwoman,
would say,
you want to extra time?
Please. So you would say we're heading in the right trajectory. We've got things going in the right direction, but there's a lot more work to do. But you feel like these funds indicate a holistic strategy that'll continue to be effective in keeping on that positive trajectory to beat the national averages.
Yes, ma'am. I mean, look, you had like I said, the principal deputy director of SAMHSA, who came down, 2 weeks ago, just to see what we were doing right here in East Baton Rouge Parish. People talk about we're the worst in a lot of things, but no, we're doing this right. And if we can continue to do that, we can save even more lives. Because even though the numbers are decreasing, but that can change in a minute. Just like, the mayor was saying, we can see the data. That data is so important because that's what helps us go out. When we see that there's a bad batch in an area, then we can dispatch our peers to go out there and to address that. When someone has overdosed and they are alive, then we're right there by law enforcement to say, hey, look, we were where you were. Don't make that decision. You're going to die. Let us help you get you into treatment. And we can do that real time. So we do. We need everybody firing together. And I'm not gonna lie, at first it was hard as hell. Yeah. Getting Baton Rouge City Police to say, hey, look, can you change it? Can we change this? And they were like, And I wore them down for 2 years. And so then you had everybody else who came on board even before then, and that's why the work looked like it's looking. But again, we have to do better because too many people are still dying.
And unfortunately, I'm at the age where I've had friends who've lost kids. So, I think I don't know if there's anybody in this parish who doesn't know people who've lost kids and family members. So, I know it's hard work. I know it's gritty work. I know there are days where it's not very rewarding work because you don't always get a win. But we thank you for the work you're doing.
Yeah, and last year was a hard year for all of us.
Yeah.
All of us who are mentioned, who are, recipients to do this good work. It was a hard year, but we still got it done.
God bless you.
And I thank you guys, for real.
Thank you.
Councilman Kenny.
All right, question for Kelly. First, I want to say thank you to the Coalition of Mayors. I think it's a powerful front to see all of our mayors, our municipalities come together around this. My question is, I know when people see $3.5 million, $18 million, how do we determine how much each entity receives, right? I guess in transparency purposes, when people see that, people say, well, how that DA office get $1 million? How does entity get $250,000? How do y'all kind of the process that y'all went through to determine that?
Yeah, so when you dig down on it, for example, one of the questions was the coroner's office, right? Well, they're dead. No, it's a lot deeper than that, right? When you understand that they have one criminal pathologist and the amount of work that goes into it and the things that's there, the guidance is very specific in a lot of ways, right? So when you think about Hiller and what they're doing, and you think about 19 JDC with Blight Court, based on the scope of work and what can be done, we've set a certain percentage for preventative measures inside the schools. There's another, percentage, and I'll share the procedure with you all, and it's ever changing, but everything is based off that scope of work. That's year one. Year two may look different, right? But we have to set a structure to where there's one point of entry. I think there was a lot of duplicity at times. We need a system. We need to know who to go to, but we definitely use the guidance. We work with Dr. Nelson to get approval. He's over the state opioid funding for the state, for the DA's office across the state of Louisiana. And so, yeah, the formulas were all based off scope of work and what they approved.
All right, appreciate it.
Thank you.
Councilwoman Rock.
So thank you, Ms. Miles, for everything that you said. I don't think I've had the privilege of meeting you face to face, so I'm happy to get to know you today. Thank you. Also, Victoria's Voice, thank you for that information and the information that you provided my office. It's on my desk now, and I really greatly appreciate that. But I do believe we'd be remiss without recognizing the people that are here in the audience that haven't come up, people that are here after hours, that are fighting for funds and needing funds to continue this awesome fight that we're seeing going throughout our community. And I'd like to recognize District Attorney Hiller Moore, who's on the back wall. I think the community needs to know that he's here fighting for funding to supply his office. We also have Judge Haney in the back from juvenile court against the back wall. They don't want to come forward tonight. We have Kyla Romanoff, who could stand up back there, who represents the 19th JDC Public Defender's Office. We have Diana Givens in the back over here, who's with the 19th JDC. And if I missed anybody, please come up and tell us who you are and who you're representing. I think the community needs to know that you're here appreciating the support and that you plan on using these fund dollars in a positive way. I think I saw Mr. Chris Kasanka somewhere back there with CJCC. So thank you all so very much for being here. Thank you for what you're doing in our community. Really appreciate your hard work and all that you do.
Councilwoman Harris?
I would like to recognize Dr. Jacqueline Mims, who's here with us, who's been in the trenches for decades doing great work. Dr. Mims, can you come up, please?
Good evening, everyone. I'm sitting in the chambers actually texting an individual who is in recovery and homeless. So while we talk about treatment, there's a need not just for intervention, prevention, but a holistic approach to helping people to become whole. I've been in private practice for over 40 years, and just before preparing to come to the meeting today, I decided to look to see how long I'd been doing the DON program. And I was surprised, 2000. So 27 years I've been doing the DON program. I was originally approached by two judges who asked if I would design a program for court services because what they were currently offering wasn't working because of their continuously revolving door. I am proud to say that I can count the people that have gone through our program that have gone back to court. Later on, one of the other judges decided that they wanted to introduce the program to the 19 JDC, so we continue to do that work as well. I'm also a national certified continuing education provider, so I provide training, educational training for other mental health professionals. So the work I do with eclectic cognitive behavioral is very broad, and because of confidentiality, I won't start naming some of the people that I have served who may be in this very room. The individual that just texted me has been homeless now for about 6 months. And what sometimes people fail to recognize is that substance use disorder is a mental health disorder. We oftentimes speak of substance abuse as if it's separate or set apart from mental health. It is not. We diagnose based on the Diagnostic Statistical Manual for Mental Health. So it's a mental health condition. When you're doing a analysis, and I'm sure others in the room can speak to that, it can tell you whether or not an individual has a substance in their system at the time. But outside of that, it could not tell you whether or not an individual was suffering from a substance use disorder. We do that by diagnosis. We need a holistic approach, and there is much that could be said. Many of the questions and responses have already been given. I don't know if there is a household in East Baton Rouge Parish or Louisiana that somehow has not been impacted by a substance use disorder, to include opioids. Opioid is at an epidemic, and so we're doing a lot of conversations about opioid. But there are a lot of other mental health conditions that are what we call comorbid with a substance use disorder, right? What's really interesting, I'm doing a presentation right now on disruptive impulsive control disorder. But I did my doctoral dissertations, both of them. My first doctorate is in counseling psychology, my second's in special education. I focused both of my dissertations on at-risk antisocial behaviors among adolescents that contribute to other issues like substance abuse. And so when we look at those comorbid, like attention deficit disorder, it's commonly associated with other disorders such as substance abuse, commonly. And some of your other more, and conduct disorder is one of the more severe, oppositional defiant disorder, attention deficit disorder, conduct disorder. There are a number of disorders and other conditions, and y'all know I like to teach. So a lot of other conditions that predispose individuals to substance abuse. Many people get started with substance abuse as a way of coping
self-medicating other issues, right? And that's what happened to this individual that I was just texting. That's what happened to them. I've dealt with professionals, nurses, doctors, attorneys
Councilwoman, you want to check your time?
who have become addicted to opioid, doing self-medication. So thank you for recognizing me, and I'll be in the audience to answer any questions that you might have. Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Mims.
Councilman Hudson?
I don't know if Senator Barrow is still here or not, but I wanted to acknowledge that her item got moved up, but all these other mayors, they don't have the pull she's got.
She's a senator, they're mayor.
There you go. There you go. My question is for Mr. Kasanka with CJCC. Chris, and I didn't tell him I would call him up, but my question is, I know you guys have some grant funding that is running its course and rounding out. So do these dollars help you all continue any particular programming or add any new programming? What are we looking at doing with y'all for these dollars?
Yeah, the opioid abatement settlement funding is allowing us to continue and enhance our pretrial diversion and recovery program that's been running since 2018. And that program is specifically, the $260 is specifically to fund the employees for that, and then the program costs.
And I know you guys have had some recent successes with pretrial diversion, so tell us a little bit about that.
We have continued successes with it since it started. One, we're the only court program in the state that is a diversion program that focuses on drug and alcohol treatment recovery. We're working with the LADSC, which is Louisiana Drug and Specialty Court programs, to get recognized as a specialty court. The reason they're not is because we're a diversion court, and for them, you have to be found guilty and then go through the program. So our people aren't even found guilty. They're identified right after they get booked. They meet with our social workers. They do full assessments on them. They get recognized, or like I said, full assessment by our social worker. We have a dedicated district attorney, assistant district attorney. We have a dedicated assistant public defender and a dedicated judge that runs this. Everybody works together to make sure this person's a good fit for it. Once they are, they're released. The judge changes their bond to a sign out. They're released, go straight into treatment, where they're followed closely by our case manager and our resource coordinator. And then they're typically in our program 6 months to a year, depending on how they do. We do get, this is drug and alcohol, typically opioids. There's a lot of failure that's involved with that. So we see people come back, fail, and we don't kick them out right away. We work with them. If they are accountable for what they've done and they want to get better, we do everything we can to make sure that they're in the program. So once a month, they all meet over at the 19th JDC in front of Judge Johnson. We graduate people. Everybody else who isn't graduating gives a full report on how they're doing, and it's a really good bonding moment for the participants in the court. I invite all of you. I know many of you have been to see some of our pretrial diversion program graduations. I invite you all to come. We have one this Friday at 9:30.
Good deal. Thank you, Chris.
Yep.
So the only other group that I wasn't familiar with was Eco Behavioral Health. I was curious if there's anybody here from them. That's okay.
Hi, good afternoon. Daryl Blacher, Mayor's Office of Community Development. Ms. Bell called earlier to say that she wasn't feeling well and most probably wouldn't make it, but would try to send a representative. So is a representative present? Well, if I could just say that, and that will help tie into some of the questions that were answered about eligibility of these projects. ECO ECHO is a treatment and recovery facility, and they operate a sober house. And so she's been doing this for about 30 years or so. as a licensed counselor, along with Dr. Mims in terms of being a licensed professional as well. We have a Bible, so to speak, if you will, that was given to us by the state of Louisiana, the task force that oversees and administers these funds statewide. So